Hey there, thanks again for listening. Here's another interview episode of the Pulsive Thinker podcast. This episode is brought to you by CADAC, the Center of ADHD Awareness Canada. Today, I've got a very special treat. I've got Julia Waller from Strategic Coach. She is the unique ability specialist and coach at Strategic Coach. I call her the guru of the unique ability, and this is a very big topic and concept I think everyone needs to understand about themselves in order to be able to manage their ADHD and work well with their ADHD in the workplace at your company. So Julia, I really appreciate your time. I know you're a very busy person. I know your schedule's like a year out for people to work with their unique ability with you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Andre. It's my pleasure. I love talking about unique ability all day long.
That's you do. And just to give an update with everyone, Julie and I spent a lot of time talking about individual strengths, how to identify that in people, and how to work with our own strengths and have our own observations that can only be seen from the outside. So, this is a very natural conversation topic for both of us, and you are one of the top 1.5% people that knows their stuff about this. So
thank you.
Highly respected by everyone, myself. So let's get on to this. Explain to me, what is a unique ability and why is it important for an entrepreneur to know that?
All right. So we have our, specific definition at Strategic Coach, and really, I'm always trying to figure out the best way to say it, but bottom line, it's your unique set of talents that come naturally to you. You're really, really good at them. They give you energy and you want to keep getting better and better at it. So everyone's wired uniquely and differently. And as you know, because you're an expert in strengths and talents and understanding how people work, the more we can understand who we are, how we operate, how we think, how we feel, how we do, how we are in terms of being, the more awareness we have, the more we can do that, the more we can apply it to the right situations, apply it to the right activities, apply it to the right opportunities, apply it to the right relationships. And so, little by little, when we kind of do it one quarter at a time, or, one activity at a time, you start to carve out your life and design it around your unique ability, because your unique ability is really you. It's what you have to offer to the world in terms of how you create value for other people. It starts with your talents, and it's you out there doing good stuff for other people that creates value. And then you get lots of rewards in return: money, opportunity, reputation, all those good things.
Tips. I think everyone needs to be aware of the key word she used there was value. The unique value you bring to the world, no one else has that. You might have a lot of similarities, but you have one unique ability and service or knowledge and expertise that's valuable to someone out there, and only you can do it. What is, in what way the unique ability? Does it focus around task? Is it more passion? Is it like, what do I do with the unique ability? If I know what it is, or how should I look at it?
Yeah, so you can look at it. I mean, we look at it in a couple different ways. You can look at it from, what are those deeper talents that I have that I can then now bring to the world, my family, my work, everything around you, right? Or you can just look at your activities and you can say, okay, which activities here and energy and passion, I think you mentioned, are really good clues, right? If you just want like a really quick thing, you write all the things you do in a week down on a piece of paper and say which ones give me energy and which ones don't, and that's going to be a really big clue for unique ability. Which ones do I really love doing and give me energy and I want to keep getting better at, and which ones I'm like, ooh, oh God, I procrastinate that, or I don't like this one, or ooh, that one's, challenging in a way that I don't even want to learn how to do that. And that'll give you a really quick gauge. I like the deep dive too, because I really like to look behind the curtain and see how people operate. Because I think when you bring up this whole idea of unique, I think people have a really hard time with that word. They have a hard time with that concept. They think they're not unique. They think everyone else can do everything the way I do it. I do the same. I just got coaching my last call that I was with from another colleague. She's like, oh, you do this so well. You connect these dots and you articulate this. I'm like, I do, I know that's part of my unique ability, but to me, it's second nature. I don't even realize that I'm doing it because I love doing it and I'm good at it. Sorry, I know I'm
Okay, so
going on. I'll keep talking. Okay.
Oh, no. That's, it sounds like it's funny in almost way. So what I just heard is if you're working your unique ability, you don't even know you're doing it.
100%. Yeah, it's natural. It's fun. And you're like, hey, this is easy. It's
What are you
easy.
talking about
That's
fun?
actually,
We mean
yeah,
fun. You mean
I know.
we can do fun at work?
Yeah.
That's very valuable to understand, is that the stuff that comes naturally to you, what you're great at, and what people rely on you for, it's easy. And you do not realize that that's the value you bring, because to you, it's very easy.
It messes people up that it's so easy. It makes them think that it's cheating, almost like they're cheating the system because they're doing things that are easy and fun and meaningful and fulfilling to them. They think, oh my God, I should be doing the hard stuff or whatever. It's like, no. Unique ability feels that way.
Yeah. So if it's so easy, yeah, for me, the challenge is like, hey, if it's so easy for me, it's got to be easy for them. Right. But
oh my gosh, that's the worst, right? And so
yeah.
then you get frustrated when other people don't see what you, I was like, how could you not make that connection? Or how could you not solve that problem? Or how could you not see that vision that I have? It's so obvious, it's like, duh. And meanwhile, they're lost, they don't see the world through your eyes. They have no idea how to do the things that you do. I had someone try to delegate all their unique ability activities to their team because he's like, here, I'm going to give you the guys the easy stuff and I'll take the other stuff. And the team just looked at him in panic, because they couldn't do any of the things that he was good at. That was his
now that you said that, like, I have, about reflecting back, I'm like, this stuff is so easy, they should know. And then I would actually start thinking they were dumb, they're stupid.
Bingo. And there's that should word too, right? That's a red flag. Anytime you say it to yourself or to someone else, what I do is I see, anytime you think that, you say, oh, wait a minute, this is probably my unique ability. It's probably not theirs. Lucky for me and lucky for the situation, I got my unique ability here and I can bring that and create value here. It switches it around instead of being annoyed that the other person didn't do it. Didn't see it.
Yeah. And then the other thing too, so you used to think they're stupid, but at the same time is, I think with the ADHD brain here is, like, you made a good point about we should be doing the should word again. I mean, shoulding all over the place again. Sorry. Is we have to take the hard road. If it's not hard work, we're not doing work. And I think with our generation, that's the way we're kind of raised, but also with the ADHD negative exposure of the world, we're used to having to do the hard stuff, that everyone seems to be it's easy for other people to do. So we get trapped in this, have to do the hard work, and we got to stop doing this hard work and do the easy stuff, what we consider easy, which is our unique ability. And we have more fun, because I think you told me this, I think the term is incompetent task, a task that I have no energy for. It makes me frustrated. I get fired up. I get upset if I got to do this task. And with the ADHD brain, having the emotional sensitivity, that gets amplified. And I've, with your direction, you say you got to stop doing it. And if you delegate that stuff to someone else that's better at it, it's freeing.
Yeah, it's totally freeing. It's so frustrating working in if you've got people on your team, Andre, and they're incompetent at an activity, aren't you going to fire them from that activity? Yes. Or from the job? You're going to move that off their plate. You're going to give it to someone else who can do it better. And yet we don't do that for ourselves. And especially entrepreneurs, I think we've got the added, first of all, society doesn't believe in this, right? Society, work hard and, do the stuff that's on your job description and just follow the way that that's on your job description. Meanwhile, it's like, well, why don't we create our own job descriptions based around our unique ability, what we love doing and what we naturally contribute? Because boy, we're going to be way more creative and way more productive doing the stuff we love doing than the stuff that pains us to do it. Right. But also for entrepreneurs,
you're going to be happy. Yeah. People will be happy to be around you then.
Which is, everybody wants you happy, Andre, because we're happier around you. Yeah. But entrepreneurs also, especially when you're starting out, you got to do everything, right? And you're so, resourceful and capable and smart that you can do everything for a while, right? And then you get to a point where you need to start letting go of that stuff that you got it up and running. And now we need a who, our whole who, not how concept, which is really delegation. Only you really delegate to somebody who's got like magic at it. You don't even know how they do it, right? You don't even want to know how they do it. You just want them to be really reliable. You set the context for how you want the result to be, and then let them run. But you got to let go of that stuff. And when you've been grinding it out and just doing it for all, a certain period of time, it's hard to flip. You got to flip your mindset to let go of that stuff. And then there's a lot of permission needed. And I think unique ability, if you can see what's going to be good about you focusing more on your unique ability and all the good things that are going to come, like all the growth is going to come, the results, the money, the new opportunities, the impact you're going to have on the world, you can get excited about that. It's a lot easier to let go of that incompetent or competent or even excellent stuff, which we call the stuff that you're really good at but don't love. Even that you want to let go of eventually.
And I'm actually starting to get to that point where I'm getting rid of excellent activities. Stuff like, for me, the engineering, I'm really well known for my report writing to get right to the nitty-gritty, but I really don't enjoy
You don't love it.
I like figuring out what to come up with for the report, but to actually write it, now I'm getting my team. Like just to go back to your time, but when an entrepreneur's in a startup phase, they have to do everything. And then I think it's very key that you use the term too, you got to get permission to stop that. But at the same time, I think it's a habit of ours.
Yep.
And we got to get out of the habit. So it's not as easy to say, we got to stop that now because I got a team. It's actually a habit because it's, you got that trigger, you immediately habitually do something, you go, and then you actually got to take a step back to realize it. And for me, saying, what is my unique ability? Does this meet it? Yes, no, who can do it? And get out of the way.
Yeah.
We need to give ourselves permission, which is difficult.
But you're right. You're totally right. It's like creating that little space, that little pause, right? Before thought and action. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Before I run to do it, and this might be harder for ADHD brains, right?
Mhm.
Before I run and impulsively go and do it, let me just stop and think. You can ask yourself one question. Is this my unique ability or not? No. Oh, wait a minute then. No, let me just, knock myself on the head and say, okay, then who else could do it? Oh, I don't have a who right now. Got to get done. Great, I'll do it. But if I have a who, or find a who to go and say, can you please find someone else to do this job? And you talked also about sort of slicing and dicing activities too, like even with your reports, you're like, okay, well, maybe I could just do this part of the activity, which I love, and then slice the rest off and give that to someone else. And then that creates tremendous freedom as well.
Yeah. And I think I know in my case, I always say a task. I have to write the report. So that was a big task,
Mhm.
right? And I actually went deeper. It's like, okay, what's the solution that need to be solved? Here are the points that need to be proven. Discuss that with my team member. They learned at the same time and they got to write the report. And I just review and mark up to make sure it flowed. But like for me, I love figuring out the solution to the problem that's difficult. And then I'm out.
And I'm looking at your unique ability right now, Andre, and that's exactly what it is, right? And your ability to analyze that and figure it out and come up with the solution, which the people on your team, they can't do that, right?
Mhm.
So the more you can be freed up from the other stuff, think of how many more impossible problems you can go and solve,
Yes.
which is fun for you and then amazing for your customers.
Yeah. And the staff actually appreciate it because they learn a lot more too.
Absolutely.
Now, the other thing you just said there, oh man, it was on the tip of my tongue. Anyways, I'll come back to it later once I remember it, but it's
I don't remember either. So, hey, it's all good.
the unique ability. I always love the getting, but not the doing. And then once I put that into place and start realizing that, I was starting to get a lot happier with doing the work. And I communicate. My team knows my unique ability. I even tell my customers, I'm not doing that. And this is, oh, you're too big for this. No, I'm just not good for it. And if you want this done on time, you have to let me bring another team member in, because if not, I'm a bottleneck, I'm a delay, because I really don't like to do certain aspects of the paper.
Well, that's a great point, Andre, because you do have to train your customers and your clients, because sometimes they get used to it and they're part of that habit that you mentioned, right? It's a habitual thing for them to go to you. And sometimes like, oh, how do I get out of that? Or they'll think I'm too good for them. It's like, no. That's if you sell them on your team, first of all, how fast it's going to be or how great the result's going to be with your team taking over, and say, hey, listen, this is going to free me up to think about your problem even more.
Mhm.
And so that's why I have other people handle the admin part, because then together we're going to actually create a better result for you in the end.
Mhm.
And then they're like, oh yeah, actually I'm going to, like, I had a client who he got, people get rid of their email, and it's such, email can be such a time consuming and energy suck for people. And he felt like he should always be on his email, and help me understand, like, convince me, Julia, why? And I was like, listen, if you get off your email, you can go solve all these problems and come up with these strategies.
Yeah.
And, he felt guilty because his team's going to be like, what, are you too good for that kind of activity? Like, who are you? hoity-toity, right? And then once I convinced him, he's never been on email again. And you know what? I email his assistant and I love chatting with her because she's great. She gets back to me right away. With him, it's like a black hole. He wouldn't get back to me anyway.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's like you get to a point where you're too busy to do stuff, to do the right stuff. And what I found with my team, when I started telling them I'm not good at that, they all look at you, what? You're supposed to, you started this company. And after a while, they're like, oh, you don't know everything. And now I'm relying on you to do this because you do it better than me.
Which
And
creates teamwork. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's like you guys call the unique ability teamwork, right?
Yeah.
But for me, if I can get myself less busy doing stuff I don't like, I'm actually more available to my team to help solve problems and things get moving. And they appreciate that. I was thinking the same way. Oh, you're too good for email. Or you're too good for this. But at the end, they're like, he's more available to help us and they're better supported that way. So, and it's for me sitting there sometimes going, what am I going to do? I'm not really doing, I'm not doing money work. I'm not doing revenue stuff, but every time I spend 2 minutes with someone, I know we're saving an hour down the road somehow.
Totally. And you're leveraging your team so they can create better results. And now all of a sudden they get the good side of you and the good part of you, right? And then the other part of you, someone else handles those things. I think we want the good of everybody, right? To come out and to flourish and to grow and to be present. And then it creates a better environment. Like you go back to happiness and fun.
If people are working together and they can rely on each other, it's
each doing their unique ability, stuff that they love and they're good at, like, man, that's a winning combination.
And they want to come into work.
Yeah. Right? All right. I mean, one of our team members, she said, I don't go from home to work. I go from home to home when she talked about strategic coach. And I thought that was such a powerful, that's what it feels like when you're working in a unique ability team. And then our clients comment like, where do you get such great people? It's like, yeah, it's the culture. It's the environment. We find great people and then we let them grow in their areas of unique ability. And this is what happens.
And people stick around for that type of stuff.
Oh yeah. 25 years this year.
You?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
You only look like you only been there 5. Okay, we talked about tasks with the unique ability, but you said you'd like to go deeper and behind the curtain. And what do you mean by that?
Yeah, well, part of our strategic coach unique ability process is really using some of the assessments that you know really well, like Kolbe, Kolbe, Kathy Kolbe, amazing, how you strive, how you solve problems, how you take action. So your unique way of doing that. We use a couple other assessments, the Clifton Strengths as well from Gallup, and then Print, which is a new one that really gets deep with your unconscious motivators. So kind of getting some language around what are my talents and strengths, because we can't see them. Like to us, we're just so inside ourselves that we're not outside the jar. We can't read the label on the bottle, right? And then we send out a letter. We have a letter. I was just talking about this with someone else, and the power of sending out a letter. Hey, you pick 8 or 10 people in your life and you say, hey, what's my unique ability? What kind of things do you count on me for? Going back to creating value, right? How do I create value for you? And then get them just to write back an answer. It's kind of the stuff that they would say at your funeral, only you get to hear it today and know about it. And then you're like, wow, I had no idea that made such an impact. I'm going to do more of that.
And I guarantee you, what you hear back is you'll never believe what they value you for.
It's stuff that you're going to think is such a no-brainer, right? You're like, well, isn't everybody like that?
Really? Like, really?
But aren't the answers consistent too? Like I find there's lots of variety because people are multidimensional and you are multidimensional, as am I, but there's going to be common themes that come across. I mean, it could be even things like I just had a recent client, kindness, being kind and sharing joy with people. Well, he's done it with me and it's phenomenal. The impact is huge. It's life transforming. And you wouldn't even really think of that as something that would be someone's part of their unique ability, right? So, it could be the visionary ability and the problem solving and all those other things, but it might be something that seems like a soft skill. A lot of people say, oh, the letters are just soft skills, Julia. It's like, yeah, but your relationship ability or your friendliness or your warmth, those are things that actually make you who you are.
Right. And the key thing I think the listener needs to understand here, realize is that the unique ability that you write is not directly, like it's not directly written for the position or the work that you do. It actually can be applied at any.
It can be applied everywhere.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Home, life, hobbies, work. Like for me, the biggest thing I think I'm on round 4 now of refining my unique ability. But I sent out another set of questions to people. And this time I actually sent out to people I've only known a few months and only had a few interactions. And what was interesting is just those little short interactions, they were coming back with a unique ability, which they saw that other people saw on your first. So you actually, if you actually exude it, right?
You know what? You're 100%. I did that too when we were writing our book, and I'd done it years ago. I sent it out to my neighbors. I barely knew them very much at all. And the stuff they said back, I thought, oh my gosh, I didn't even know I was coming across that way. We are so transparent. We don't even know it.
Yeah. And in your book that you're referring to is Unique Ability Book 2.0, right?
Yes, Unique Ability 2.0 Discovery. It's a book with a notebook. You know, I put as much coaching as I could to take you through the process. We take you through looking at your activities and categorizing them, sort of how we're talking. We also take you through the deep dive using the assessments like that we've mentioned. So you can do either way or both. I would suggest both. I like to start with the deep dive because then once I know what my unique ability is, or someone knows and has the clarity, then it gives them confidence to let go of stuff, right? And then then when you look at your list of activities, it's so obvious, like, yeah, meeting with this client, oh yeah, unique ability. Meeting with this, even meeting with a different kind of client. See, audience makes a difference too. That's a whole other thing. But you know, the level of activity, like you can solve problems in your sleep, Andre, but you don't want to solve every kind of problem. There's certain ones that require your level of complexity, right? I'm not going to give you a simple problem. You're going to be bored to death. You know, just like I'm going to create systems, but I don't like administrative systems. I like people growth systems. So that's why I love unique ability so much.
I never thought of it that way. Systems on the people side of things.
Yeah, people look at, you know, we know what about Colby, and I'm an 8 in follow through, which is someone who systematizes and organizes and arranges and designs in a fairly organized way. But I don't care if you don't care about something, your Colby doesn't kick in. And there's lots of kind of systems that, I mean, I've created a bunch of them, but then I turn them over to other people and let them.
And your book is available at uniqueability.com?
It's available at uniqueability.com. It's on Amazon as well. And we've got lots of resources at strategiccoach.com too. There's different articles and various podcasts over the years, but uniqueability.com is a good place for just anyone can go to, and you can see a few resources.
And the book is well written. That the workbook is actually phenomenal. It's a very simple way of looking at it. It was so well done. It's for such a deep topic. It's a simple process and layout, but you only get out as much as you put in. So if you're just half-ass.
Thanks for that. It is pretty deep. Like it's not one of those books where you just read or you put it, and it's not even on Audible, because it's actually, it is right, like doing a workshop. And I know my one piece of advice with it is do it, like take yourself out to, if you can go to a coffee shop or go to your Zen room or whatever you have in your room, somewhere outside of your office space. Yeah. Do it a little chunk at a time, you know, do a couple hours one week and then maybe a couple hours the next week. Do it over time in chunks where in a different environment where you can just think, because it's a deep internal reflection process. Yeah, and that's different than, you know, it's different than doing your regular kind of work, but anyone can do it. You know, I think entrepreneurs have the most freedom to apply it, and the mindset that's already there in terms of freedom and not wanting to have good results and be competitive in the marketplace. So you're going to be motivated to let go of that stuff that you're not good at, right? Because you're going to see the results that are going to come from it. Exactly.
And like for me, the unique ability, understanding that, and then actually giving myself permission to work only in that was very freeing. And I was able to manage my ADHD a lot better, mainly because I'm doing less frustrating tasks, dealing with less frustrating people. And you know what, for my brain, that is a massive change. Like now I'm showing up work. Hey, I don't want to do this. I don't have to do this. I'm having fun. Everyone's working around you. And you do realize that if you stay in your lane of what you do best, you disrupt your team less, and people do respect the right people, respect it and understand it. The right people, right clients, right staff. So you got to be clear on that. Not everyone gets it. That's their problem, not ours. So this process, like the Colby, the Gallup strengths, Gallup strengths now, used to strength.
Clifton strengths, they call it. Yeah. Donald Clifton, he's the inventor. So they named it after him. Yeah.
And the print, I use this in course 3 of getting ahead of your ADHD on the ADHD transformation journey. So like this kind of stuff for you to understand is a massive stepping stone to freeing yourself, and it makes it easy to manage your ADHD. Julia, man, we can talk for this for hours. We've done it many times before, but I want to thank you for your time here and sharing the concept of unique ability. And I wanted the listeners to know that this is a very important key thing for you to understand yourself, work within your strengths, get rid of your weaknesses, and just give yourself permission to work on the stuff you love to do because you deserve it. Right?
100%. Everybody does, right? Look at how many people are walking around miserable doing stuff that they don't love doing, when really the other thing to remember is there are other people out there who it's not unique ability for you, but it is for someone else. Someone out there is going to love taking that away, and it's going to give them a chance to grow and develop doing that activity. So hats off for you. I think, Dan Sullivan from Strategic Coaches is all about simplifying. So the more you can simplify your life and take some of those extra burdens off of your shoulders, right? Unique ability is that cornerstone simplifying concept where if you just keep paying attention, take it seriously and take your talent seriously, because if you're good at it, you can bet that a lot of other people aren't. And there's a space for you to create a lot of value doing your unique ability.
We can stay in our unique ability. We can make more money because we have more time to have fun doing it.
Yeah.
Julia, thank you very much for your time here. And to the listeners, I'd like to hear from you guys. Let me know the one thing that you do best. Just pick one thing that you're really good at. Send it to me at questions@theimpulsivethinker.com or put it in the comments below. If you found this episode of value for other people, please share this and leave us some comments and a rating down below. Greatly appreciated. Julia, thank you very much.
Thanks, Andre.
We'll talk to you guys later. Thank you.